Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to leave a like on this video down below and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
My name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Hi, everyone. In this video, we're going to be doing our ratings for the 2024 Senate elections.
Yeah, so we got the starter map here, and some of these races we just checked off the bat, even though there might be something to talk about, like New Jersey, where Republicans don't really have a strong candidate, or Maine, where even though it's Maine, there's a strong independent slash Democrat that's just going to win pretty easily unless something drastic happens. There's a few retiring Democrats and Republicans here as well that we didn't really care to mention: California, Indiana, Maryland, and Delaware. And that's about it, right?
Yeah, so these races that we've already marked off are solid for either side. We expect either side to win by more than 10 points, and we don't really think there's much worth talking about since they're probably not going to decide the Senate unless something changes in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just head to some more somewhat solid slash likely states that we thought were at least deserved some discussion. And I guess we could start with the Democratic states, right? So let's go to New Mexico first, Luke.
Yeah, so in New Mexico, it's Martin Heinrich. He's the incumbent Democrat. He's going to be running for re-election here. He won in 2018 by a very large margin, but this was partly due to there being a third-party libertarian candidate that just siphoned a bunch of the votes away from the Republicans. Seeing as that probably won't happen this year, and that combined with Hispanic shifts in the state, it's definitely going to be closer than 2018. How close though, I'm not really sure. Democrats in New Mexico tend to win, like hover around 10 points, 10-point victories. So right in that in between like solid and likely rating. Personally, since I believe Heinrich's a little more popular and he's an entrenched incumbent, I think this will turn out being a solid race this year, even with the Hispanic shifts. But what do you think, Alvin?
Yeah, I think something interesting that maybe we could consider is the 2022 gubernatorial race. And I'm just gonna search that up here on Wikipedia to show you. So New Mexico is generally pretty solid for Democrats. Like you said, it hovers around the 10-point range. But Mark Ronchetti was able to get it against the incumbent governor within the likely
Mm-hmm.
margin range and within 7 or so points, except 6, 7 points. And so that's something we can look at in terms of going back to the 2024 election. Right now, there's not much data. People haven't declared, Republicans haven't really declared, but someone popular like Mark Ronchetti could jump into the race and make this a
Yeah.
little more interesting. So I think there's potential, but right now with no Republican candidates and just not much information, I think the right characterization is probably just solid.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um, yeah, after that, I think we should move to Virginia too.
Yeah,
Um,
let's go to Virginia here. I guess for Virginia, I can go ahead and take this one.
okay.
I want to go back to this Wikipedia because Tim Kaine, some of you guys might know, was Hillary Clinton's running mate. Probably not the best decision by her, but that's a whole nother story. Tim Kaine has been in this position for a while, entire decade, and he is likely going to take this by a very solid margin. It doesn't really matter that Virginia has been a little bit sketchy for the Democrats, of course, in 2021, but
Mm-hmm.
Tim Kaine is just a strong candidate. The Republicans have no names. Of course, you can see Glenn Youngkin in there, which would definitely make this race a lot more interesting if he ran, considering, of course, he's the governor and he had a very, very good campaign style in
Mm-hmm.
2021. But I think for now, again, this is the kind of thing where we can kind of look at it as a solid race with potential later to change.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Youngkin like would definitely make this race much closer, but I don't really think he'd jump in since he'd have to. I think he'd much prefer to finish out his governor term
Hmm.
than jump into a Senate race. Another name I noticed in there was Hung Kao, who ran
Yeah.
in Virginia 10th. He actually got that like decently close, if I remember. Like,
Yeah, he
I think
did.
yeah, like 4 to 7 point race in what should have been like a pretty solid Democratic seat. So yeah, Virginia, I think, has been the Democrats haven't been doing great in Virginia really since 2020 when Biden won by a big margin. But yeah, ever since then, it's just kind of been a little iffy. Um, I think
Yeah.
Tim Kaine, Tim Kaine has a good chance of solidifying it again. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this one for sure. But yeah, for now, solid.
Yeah, this is Hung Tao who moved it 6 points, 6.5, 7 points here.
Hmm.
So that's interesting, but it was only one congressional district, so it's not like we can
That's
do
true.
a lot. Anyways, solid blue on Virginia. And I guess we should maybe talk about Pennsylvania here.
Yeah. So Pennsylvania, we have Bob Casey Jr. Running for
Mhm.
reelection. So he's the son of a famous governor of the state, and he's generally been really popular in his seat, winning his elections by very large margins, even for Pennsylvania being a swing state. In 2018, he won by double digits, 13 points. So yeah, he's already in an excellent position to just flat out win. Um, Looking at 2020, the 2024 election, it looks like his most likely competitor is going to be David McCormick, who attempted to run for the Senate in 2022, but lost the Republican primary. Um, I mean, David McCormick has some sketchy ties to China and stuff like that, so I don't really think it'll help him that much. But he's certainly an upgrade from the Republicans that were run in 2022, like Dr. Oz and Doug Mastriano, who both lost miserably. So yeah, I think for me, I don't think, seeing as this is a presidential year, there's going to be a lot of focus on this race. I think Casey won't win by over 10. I don't think he'll get above double digits. I think it's around like a likely race between 5 and 10 points, like around that area. That's where I think he'll end up. What do you think?
I actually think, I mean, it's probably gonna hover around 10 points for me. The thing is, like, it's undeniable his 2018 margin, okay? Like, yes, it was a good Democratic year. Yes, there's no presidential race, but he's still very, very popular. The polling right now is very limited, as you can see down here, but it does still show Casey with a healthy margin against McCormick. I think it's kind of interesting how this race will play out with the presidential race, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you want to put? Solid or
I think we
likely?
can afford to put likely because at the end of the day,
Okay.
Pennsylvania is still kind of a swingish state. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that might be the safer bets.
Mhm. Okay. I think we should move on to the
Yeah,
the more
yeah.
likely Republican races here.
I
Uh,
think Florida is gonna be the most obvious one, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, Florida, we got Rick Scott running for re-election here. And Rick Scott is no DeSantis in Florida. Rick Scott's no Marco Rubio, but he's still an incumbent senator in Florida, which is probably just going to keep moving to the right at this point,
Hmm.
although it could be debated what's going to happen with that. Um, it's still Florida, and while Florida has been historically a swingy state, and of course, in 2018 he was able to win, right? So what's going to happen with 2024? I think it's pretty close on the solid to likely range. There's no polling in this race yet, so
Hmm.
of course it's not amazing, but if you look at 2018, he was able to eke out a victory in a very strong Democratic year where Democrats did very well. And in 2024, I can't really see him losing this race at all.
Yeah.
But the margin could be under 10 technically, but I don't see him losing. That's the thing.
Yeah, I actually would argue that the margin, as of right now, I think the margin's actually going to be double digits now. I've been looking at the race more, and the Democrats just have no one to run, no one of note at all. So like that fact, I mean, I know Rick Scott has like pitched lots of unpopular policy proposals, like sunsetting stuff like Medicare and Social Security, which I'm sure doesn't help in Florida. But seeing as Democrats have nothing, Florida's been moving to the right, and the average Republican candidate won by double digits in 2022. Even like just random statewide candidates. I think Rick Scott is going to take it by double digits unless the Democrats get together and run something, because the Democratic Party's been flopping in Florida. The only slight sunshine they had in that state recently was their win in the Jacksonville mayoral election. But yeah, other than that, it's just been like just flying to the right. So yeah,
I
I
guess
think
they
solid.
did have that minor win, but yeah, Florida's just a really big long shot now. They have no bench there, which is the problem. Their entire bench kind of just like vanished, like
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Murphy, etc.
Yeah.
Just like disappeared. They had to run former Republicans. That's how
Yeah.
bad that's how bad
Charlie
it's
Crist. Yeah.
gotten for
That
the
one really.
Democrats. So that's not great for them. I think we could go for solid Florida here. Not gonna make that mistake that we made last time. We kind of just underestimated the Republicans in Florida, so
Yeah.
not gonna do that again. And yeah, I guess now we can head over to Texas, right?
I mean, actually, before that, I think there's a race that's definitely going more to the right now. I think we should look at West Virginia next, actually.
Okay, West Virginia.
Yeah. So West Virginia right now is held by Joe Manchin, the infamous, more moderate, I guess some would even say conservative-ish Democrat. Yeah. So Joe Manchin. Um, you know, I think he's completely dead in 2024. I don't see any way. I mean, he hasn't even announced he's running for reelection, for one. And for two, the Republicans pulled a really good candidate. So Jim Justice is going to be running against Joe Manchin in 2024. He's the current incumbent governor of West Virginia. And, he's a very popular governor. He's one of the most popular governors in the nation, in fact. Going up against, if Joe Manchin runs, one of the most unpopular senators in the nation. So, and seeing as Trump easily won this state in 2020 by like a lot, like something like 20 to 30 points, probably like 30, maybe even 40. Like, yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Joe Manchin's going to lose. Even like, yeah, you can even look at the polling here. Like, yeah, Joe Manchin, yeah, dude, I would even argue, like, I think this is flat out solid now. Like, just like
Solid.
I would argue, yeah, I would argue it's solid. Like, there's no way he won by 3 points in a Dem wave year against like a nobody. So yeah, I think he's done. I think Joe Manchin's completely done here.
Yeah, I can also see that. I mean, let's just see here how Jim Justice is almost certainly going to win the Republican nomination. He's the governor, and in the polling against Joe Manchin, he's doing really, really well. If someone else were to run, I mean, that's even sadder because I mean, Joe Manchin's the only one with a shot. And I think Democrats know that, which is why they've kind of been tolerating his not so great record in Democrats' eyes in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. For now, it's gonna be solid. Something crazy is probably gonna have to happen for this to move closer. Yeah, Manchin is better off running for governor. So
Yeah, honestly,
if he's allowed, I'm not sure if he can, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
He got barely lucky in 2018, just so you guys can see. He barely got through in the wave year in 2018, and so in 2024, worst national environment for him, worst candidate against, well, better candidate, but
yeah. And he's super unpopular now on top of that for passing Biden's climate reform bill. So yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, he's done.
Just not smart moves by him. I don't think he had a chance in January, I think. In January, because he did some little performative stuff around the Build Back Better bill and blocking the filibuster stuff from Democrats a lot of the time, like on the voting rights and on the abortion. And he had a decent chance, but he just, I don't know, it just went all away.
I mean, yeah, it went away because Jim Justice wasn't in the race at the time. Now
True.
the governor, he's in the race. So I don't think it's winnable, at all. But yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see if something changes. But yeah, as right now, he's dead in the water.
Correct.
Okay, now we can go to Texas.
All right, Texas time. We got the I don't really know what I should describe him as. I don't know what jokes to make right now, but Ted Cruz is the candidate for the Republicans, and
He is
no,
a joke.
he is widely considered a joke candidate by a lot of people. He's the butt end of memes.
Liberals, yeah.
Yeah, he's really just a meme for a lot of people. Even Republicans dislike him for what he was doing with his relationship with Trump has been funny. His relationship with his donors has been funny. He almost lost against Beto, which is embarrassing because it's Beto. And so, Ted Cruz isn't going to this race as strong as many other Republicans in the cycle. Like as an incumbent, he's probably the weakest incumbent for the Republicans. And that's saying something because he's in Texas, which shouldn't normally be that way, but he is. The Democrats have cooked up Colin Allred, which I have never heard of before the Senate race, so that's not a great sign. But he's a good fundraiser. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so Colin Allred is a Democrat. I believe he's in the Dallas area. But yeah, I do know he flipped a competitive House seat in 2018. But yeah, he's a very good. I think he's proving himself to be a good fundraiser. Going up against Ted Cruz so far, he's already raised $6 million just in the first few months. Like with one ad, like over 2 days, he raised like several $1 million. So, and compared to 2018, he's already outpacing O'Rourke's fundraising, which I think is very good. The question is, can he beat Ted Cruz? I don't know. Right now, the polling leans toward Ted Cruz just because I think Colin Allred doesn't have that statewide rep that Beto has. But I think over time he can build that up and make it closer. Right now, for me though, I think it still leans Ted Cruz's way just because of the nature of Texas. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm slightly leaning towards saying this is like a lean race, like just below 5 points. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think here?
Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think it's a lot of this is going to depend on what happens on the presidential race. I thought Democrats were a lot stronger, but it's still Biden at the top of the ticket and Trump. And so at the end of the day, a lot of these statewide Senate races are going to depend on the presidential race, I think. And looking at it, Ted Cruz is no Greg Abbott, so he's not going to just it's not going to be an easy race, and Republicans are going to have to spend money in Texas. And I think it's going to be a lean race with a lot of potential for Democrats. I think Democrats should invest heavily in Texas. They should pull their money out of every single red solid state that I've put here. Not put money into Florida like they did last time, not put money into Mitch McConnell's race like they did before, not put money in some random races that they think might be funny. Just put your money in Texas and the races you need to hold. And they would have a shot at Texas, especially if there's some infighting in the Republican presidential primary. And that could definitely screw Republicans up in Texas. And it's also the only shot for Democrats to really hold the Senate. They've got to really pick up everything else and try to get Texas. So
yeah, and another way, another way that I'm looking at this is that Trump only took Texas by 6 points, and I think we can safely assume Cruz is going to do worse than any Republican at the top of the ticket, like by a few points. So yeah, I think chances are it's going to be a lean race. Pair that with the Democratic shifts in the suburbs, like of Houston, in the Dallas area, San Antonio, that outweighs the Rio Grande Valley shifts for Republicans. So yeah, I think we can see this as a lean race.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cope to say Texas isn't moving left at this point, I think, for Republicans. So it is what it is. But we'll move on. There's a lot of close races here, actually. But I guess maybe we can go to, I don't know. Where do you want to go?
East? Yeah, I think I think let's just go east to west.
East to
Let's
west,
start in
right?
Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, east to west. We'll go Ohio first. And Ohio here, I actually have a hot take on this race. I think actually Sherrod Brown is leading this race. And it is Ohio. It is a presidential year, but I don't know why I think Sherrod Brown is just in the lead. And I don't know. We've seen some weird stuff happen in Ohio recently. JD Vance did not do as well as we thought he would, probably. And a lot of this has to do with Ohioans kind of not looking at like further right candidates the same as they would look at establishment candidates. Now, I think Sherrod Brown has been in this position for a while, and Ohioans are gonna trust him. And I think it's actually lean Democrat. It's a crazy, I don't know if it's a crazy
Whoa,
take, but
whoa.
it is my
That's a
take. I
weird
think it
take.
is lean Democrat. The polling has been just there's only been one poll, so and it's not really a poll that is that great. We can look at these polls as well, but I actually think Sherrod Brown's favored. What do you want to say?
I mean, damn, I don't know, man. Because okay, Sherrod Brown did do pretty well in 2018. I will say he got a 6-point win in Ohio against Jim Renesee, I believe. Not the best candidates the Republicans could have run, but now Republicans, they have plenty of opportunity. Actually, yeah, it does depend heavily on who the Republicans nominate here. Right now, I think Frank LaRose, the Secretary of State, looks like he might jump into the race. And if he does, I don't know. I mean, that's a statewide candidate. He won in 2022 with a very good chunk of the vote. He didn't do as well as the governor, but he did average for a Republican in Ohio at the time. He won by 60. He had 60% of the vote. I remember that. Yep. So yeah, he did really well. Unless Republicans nominate a bad candidate like JD Vance, yeah, I don't know. I actually could see the Republicans having the advantage here, especially in a presidential year. I don't know. Sorry, what was Sherrod Brown? He's okayly popular in the state. He's no he's pretty popular in the state. Personally, for me, I think I'm going to put this tilt Republican as a flip. But yeah, you think it's lean blue? I don't know.
Yeah, I actually do. I mean, I think we could see, I feel like we've been pretty pessimistic for own parties for a while, and it's showing. But okay, I guess we'll just put this at tilt D then, because
yeah, meet in the middle, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see how this one goes. I'm more inclined to move to the right. I don't think I'll ever go further left than lean D, and that's a fact. But right now, I kind of just see him winning by 1 or 2 because of the problems in the Republicans it's going to be Trump versus Biden again, and Trump's going to win Ohio. So, yeah, I don't know. This one's a tight one, but I do kind of just see him winning by over 1. But we'll move on. Let's go to Michigan here.
Okay, yeah, Michigan. So Democrats. Okay, it's a retiring Democrat here. Debbie Stabenow is retiring, and we have Elisa Slotkin, a representative. Basically, all the Democrats are rallying behind her, so she's essentially going to be the Democratic nominee, the candidate for that race. Republicans, though, they don't really have any good candidates to run in Michigan. All their as you saw in 2022, their candidates just got thrashed.
Correct.
Yeah, what was her name? Tudor Dixon, who ran against Whitmer. She lost big. So those types of extreme candidates are just going to get eaten alive, I think, in Michigan. But I don't know if the Republicans run James Craig, who they were initially trying to run against Whitmer, but he failed to get enough signatures to really get on the primary ballot, which was bad. That could be much closer if they run James Craig. But right now, these candidates that are currently in, Nikki Snyder, that's Those aren't big candidates. Those are just like randos. And I'm looking at the candidates who've expressed interest. Peter Meyer, former representative, like, there's no shot he's going to win a primary, especially with his anti-Trump record. Like, yeah, it's just, yeah, like I don't see them really taking it. Personally, I think this is lean blue unless the Republicans get their stuff together in Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I do think it's lean blue. I don't think there's that much to talk about. Like, Trump hasn't shown like that he's been particularly strong in Michigan, especially in 2020. 2022 is really bad, like you said, for the Republicans in Michigan, and there's just like they don't have a bench. This is kind of like the Florida problem for Democrats. You kind of have to build a bench to be able to, reach these
Yeah.
statewide races, and it's just not happening for the Republicans here. There's no names that you can really, take a look at and be like, wow, he has a pretty good chance. Like, no, that's just not a thing here. So I agree. Lean blue for now. This could go in either direction. I could see us going likely blue or tilt blue, though. So
Yeah.
we'll move
It's very,
on. Yeah, this is a movable race. We can go to Wisconsin.
Mhm.
Wisconsin's kind of weird. Like Wisconsin is always close in presidential years. I'll give that first. And I think again, a lot of it is gonna matter on what's going on in Trump versus Biden, because that's probably
Mhm.
what's gonna happen. Now, if we look at the 2018 race, it was a big margin. Okay, it was a big margin, but it was 2018 as well. And I'm going to start out by saying I also think that Democrats are probably favored in Wisconsin. With the
Yeah.
nature of this race, there's an incumbent Democrat senator who's not exactly hated. And because I think Biden is also slightly favored in Wisconsin right now, I think this is just probably I don't know. It could be lean or tilt deep, but I don't I don't know. Trump's got to do something. He's got to make better moves. He's got to stop. I don't know. He's got to stop doing his weird stuff.
Yeah. No,
What's chances here?
yeah, what I'll say here is no matter what, I see Tammy Baldwin running ahead of Biden. No matter how he does, I think I think, yeah, we could both agree she's definitely going to do better than Biden in Wisconsin. She won by 10 points in 2018, which is a massive margin. And that combined with the fact that Republicans lost their best candidate, like, I mean, their best recruit, Mike Gallagher, just said he wanted to stay in the House. The Republicans don't have too many great candidates to run. I mean, I think there's another representative, Tom Tiffany, who might run. Wait, sorry, it was yeah, he's there. Yeah, I don't know. For now, I think this is a lean D race. Also, I think Tammy Baldwin is favored. Again, I think it's not as bad as Michigan for the Republican Party
Yeah.
in terms of the candidate bench, but yeah, it's not great either. Like,
Correct. All right. I guess where do you want to put it? Lean or tilt?
yeah, lean. I think lean.
Lean. Okay. We'll continue on then. So Montana is gonna be sticky for the Democrats. We can call it that, right?
Yeah.
Sticky is a good adjective for the Democrats here. And
Very tough
that's
situation.
sticky because John Tester is like, before he used to kind of be like a moderate. I don't personally, I haven't seen him even vote for a Republican like sided thing in the Senate for a very long time. Now, polling has been kind of going both ways, and I think Republicans don't exactly have, the strongest candidates right now. We'll see what's going to happen with that. Looks like the Republicans are just going to rally behind Tim Sheehy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Even though if Matt Rosendale were to run, looks like, could be just taking this, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of we don't know if Rosendale's going to run. Rosendale looks like he's doing better. But could be worse. I don't know. This one's kind of a toss up for me, but I think Republicans are going to take this in a presidential year.
Yeah, I think it heavily depends because there's so many factors in this race, right? Because this is a Trump state. This is a Trump state, and we know it's going to vote for Trump almost certainly in 2024 for the Republican candidate. Yeah. It voted for Trump by over 10 points in 2020. But John Tester, he's been around for a while. He won in 2018 by 3 points. He beat Matt Rosendale in 2018. Matt Rosendale's notably considering a run now. So yeah, there's that. And also I should note that Tester, despite, I mean, he is one of the more moderate-ish Dems, despite being in kind of that area, like between moderate and liberal. Like, he's pretty popular in the state. Like, the last approval poll had him at like 60% approval. So he's very popular in the state, stupidly popular, in fact. Like, it is insane to me. Like, when you compare that to Manchin, drastic difference. But yeah, so Republicans, I don't know. Right now, I think if Tim Sheehy, like this veteran they're putting up against Tester, if he makes it to the matchup here and he gets through the primary, I think Tester definitely loses. But Rosendale, who's a little more right wing, if he decides to run, I think he'll crush Sheehy, who the establishment, or like they'll definitely weaken each other in an establishment versus MAGA battle. And then I think I could see Tester ending up, and if Rosendale ends up on top, I could see Tester taking that because Rosendale's a weaker fundraiser. Tester's been fundraising a ton. He raised $5 million last quarter. Yeah, well, for me also, right now.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I mean, okay. I think I'll be a little more aggressive in my take here. I actually think this could be a tilt blue race here for Tester.
Okay.
Like, it's close, though. It's close. I mean, I could change my mind.
The thing is, Rosendale's also a rep now. Like, he used to just be a nobody, so that could also change things up. I don't think this is... Okay, I actually think it could be anything from lean one side to lean the other side, which is a big range here. But I'm going to say tilt Republican here. I think...
we're split.
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to go another... tilt D in the middle like Ohio. And honestly, by next month, both of these characterizations could flip to Republican. So I guess we're kind of running out of time. So let's go to Arizona quickly, if that's even possible.
You're right. So Arizona. I mean, in AZ, Kristen Sinema, who's the independent Dem leaning senator, hasn't indicated whether she's running for re-election or not, but it doesn't matter now because a new Democrat has entered the fray. Ruben Gallego is running. So we have a representative, Ruben Gallego, running on the Democratic side. The Republicans, we don't know who they're going to nominate yet, but it's likely going to be someone on the more extreme side, like Carrie Lake or Blake Masters. And Sinema has kind of indicated she might be running as a third party. Now, considering the third party aspect of this race, and she's filed paperwork for the Senate already, she hasn't announced yet, though, and we're not 100% sure yet on whether or not she's going to run. I think it's lean Republican because if Sinema runs, chances are she's going to take votes away from the Democrat and allow the Republican to win. That's my take. What do you think?
Yeah, the polling's really interesting. Now, you do have to note that a lot of these polls are Dem polls, so they could just be, trying to make it seem like Gallego isn't going to be affected by Sinema. But I disagree. I think Gallego will be affected by Sinema for sure. Now, this one I'm probably the least sure of, but I think this is probably tilt R as well. Like, I don't know. I think Sinema is a really... Like, we haven't seen a good third-party challenge in a very long time, and obviously she's the incumbent, so she's the strongest third party you can really find. But I think we can definitely put this as Republican. Since we've been putting all these tilts as D, I'll just go lean R here. Tilt R.
And this could have been avoided, but since Sinema wants to do her fancy stuff,
Yeah. All right. Let's go over. Let's go to. What's it called? Nevada. You can go ahead.
So and in Nevada we have Jackie Rosen, the incumbent Dem senator, running for re-election. She notably won by 5 points against a Republican incumbent in 2018, which is awesome against an incumbent. Like, that's really good. But the thing about Nevada is, it's kind of been trending slowly but surely to the right, especially in that Las Vegas area. And you can kind of see this in the Republican governor. Like, the Republicans flipped the governorship in 2022, and the senator election in 2022 was very, very close. So I don't know. I think this is definitely going to be on the closer end. But again, Republicans need to get their candidates in order here, because right now the best candidate in the ring, I believe, is Jim Marchant. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he ran for Secretary of State, and did not so great. Like he lost by 2 points, but as an extreme, like as a more one of those extremist Secretary of State candidates, I expect him, if he's up against Rosen, I think he's definitely going to lose. So yeah, because of that, right now, I think I'd put it in tilt or lean blue. But yeah, like do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think just briefly, I think it's probably tilt or lean blue as well. Obviously we have that 2018 race to go off of, but Nevada has changed so much since the 2018 race. And like I said, a lot of these races are going to depend on the presidential race. And so we're just going to have to see what happens with that, because I think that's going to guide a lot of these races. So just looking at this map here, 51R, 49D, like Democrats have got to hold all these three that we've characterized as tilt. They're going to have to at least put some money into Wisconsin and Michigan, especially for the presidential race. And they have to somehow pick off Arizona and Texas and hold for Kamala Harris in the presidential race, or take both to keep the Senate. It's going to be a long shot, but
yeah,
2022 was supposed to be a long shot for them to keep the Senate, and they even
that's
gained.
true.
So it's not like it's going to be impossible, but they're going to have to do quite a bit of work, and I'm not sure what's going to happen because of the presidential year nature. So anything left you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is like Dems got a really bad map this year. So I don't know. It's going to be really tough for them to keep the Senate, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Anything can happen. I mean, like we still need people to announce what they're doing. Like in Arizona, Christian Cinema's status, in West Virginia, Joe Manchin's status, whether or not they're running, and then obviously we got to figure out whether Rosendale's running in Montana. So a lot can change over the next few months in terms of ratings. Yeah,
Senate's super important. It is the more important house, because you get to confirm justices, judges, and if Clarence Thomas passes away, if the Republicans or Democrats controlling the Senate is the biggest thing ever. Because McConnell could stall for 4 years. I trust in him to do that. So thanks for watching, guys. Like the video, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do to boost your analytics, and share the video, right? So thanks.
Yes, please share with your friends. Yeah, see ya.